It's time for Ask GMBN.
That time where you send us questions and we try and help you to become better mountain bikers. What's the first one, Neil?
Harry King starts it off with, when trying to manual, how do you concentrate on gripping the bars but covering the back brake? It's all about the one finger, this, Harry. If you're trying to use two fingers braking, then you're not going to have enough grip on the bars. So get used to one finger braking and make sure your brake lever is in the right spot so that your one finger is right on the very end of that lever.
And it's all about bar roll as well, because you want to get that position perfect so you've got your palms right on the grips and you've got plenty of grip.
Palms. Corin Streiberg friend. Every time I ride rock gardens, my bike makes a sound on the rear end. I've tried the derailleur clutch on and off and it doesn't make a difference.
It's probably a multitude of things, isn't it? You could have a chain guide, you could fit that on, or it could be the chains rattling off the chain stay or even the seat stay. You could put a little bit of Velcro, we've got a couple of videos already on that. Or it could just be that you need a new chain cassette, or you need to service your free hub. Yeah,
check everything's tight on there, do a bolt check, make sure your rear wheel's tight in there, but yeah, probably your chain I would have thought as well. Bentley Baker, GMBN, I need your help. You've come to the right place.
How can we help you?
I've been riding flats for a couple of years, but I recently switched to a clipless pedals due to my foot coming off during jumps. Is that a foot placement problem, or is that a shoe pedal problem?
I'm going to give you this one. You've got a good answer, I feel.
Yeah, it could be foot placement. I would say probably it's down to you trying to pull with your feet on the bunny hop rather than using your weight to do it. So double check that. I would say video yourself, send it in to us, we can check on that, but definitely try and stand up rather than picking up with your feet. But you should check out our How to Bunny Hop step-by-step guide. Probably the hardest part of a bunny hop is getting really good at lifting the rear wheel. Remember, it's all about using your weight. Weight is your hips. People cheat with their rear wheel lift, especially with clips, and they just pull up with their feet. That does work and it's okay, but the main reason you don't want to use that is you'll pull up with your feet, your hips still remain over the back tyre. So if you get the timing wrong and drop that back wheel into an obstacle that you don't want it to hit, all your weight is then on that back tyre. Isaac Robinson asks, what are the advantages and disadvantages of having a long or short cage rear mech?
I think the first thing to think about whether you go for a medium or a long cage mech is actually whether you're running a front chainring or if you've got a 3x system. So if you're going on a narrow wide, then you definitely get away with a medium cage. But you had a really good answer for why you might want to run that long cage.
Yeah, it comes down to the difference between your big ring and your smallest chainring. And if it's a certain amount of teeth, like there's too many, so over sort of 14, 16, 18 difference, then you're going to have to get a long cage rear mech to sort of take up that slack in the chain when you're on the smaller ring. Okay, next one, Jacob Stanowski. Every time I put my bike on the rack and take it off, my brake levers are soft and aren't braking as well. I'm running Avid Elixir 7. Do you have any idea why it's like this?
Probably sounds like you need to bleed on his brakes, doesn't it? Or you could actually check your brake pads as well. A simple short-term solution is actually just to use a cable tie, wrap it around the brake lever in your grip and see if any air comes out and see if that makes any difference.
Exactly. Laka Bator, do you know anything about dropper seat posts without cable operating? So he's talking about seat posts that don't have the remote, so you just go under the seat and, you know, the ones got a bit of a lever.
Yeah. How we all started.
Yep, they're okay. They're definitely not as useful as droppers with the remote on the handlebar because, you know, I use mine all the time on a sort of cross-country loop. I'm up and down, I'm in the middle, so you're just not going to get the chance.
It's amazing how much you actually get to use it once you start using it, and you don't realise just how advantageous it is having that.
Yeah, so check out our video, how to ride with a dropper seat post. The number one reason for getting a dropper post is to make it more comfortable and gain confidence riding the downhills. If you don't drop your weight back on downhill sections, your weight is actually going to go onto the front wheel and can cause you to go over the bars. When you get behind the saddle with a fixed high saddle, you really can't move very much and it's not comfortable. So using your dropper post, drop your post nice and early on the way in, drop your heels and get your hips right to the back of the bike. Jaden L is doing everything right on his manual, but he can't hold it for longer than 1 or 2 seconds. How does he improve it?
Well, he's obviously not doing everything right then if you can't hold it for 1 or 2 seconds.
Harsh.
But I could recommend maybe dropping the hips a little bit further back. A lot of people, you do actually see they're back on the bike, but they're actually just back in the saddle, not over the back wheel, so they're not getting that balance right back. And they're also not comfortable using that back brake and just feathering it.
Yeah, definitely back brake. The closer you get your hips to your rear axle, so obviously you can't go too far because your wheel's there, but the closer you can get down to that rear wheel, the easier it will be to hold the front wheel up. Chris H, have you guys ever taken a single speed trail or cross-country bike out for a ride? If so, what are your thoughts?
I can honestly say I haven't. Have you?
I've never ridden single speed. I ride a cross-country bike quite a lot actually. I love it, sort of going for 3-hour epic rides. Yeah. Really enjoy it.
I couldn't really imagine doing a big 3-hour ride on a single speed, however. I do like my selection of gears. Yeah. Probably the lowest gear ratio I've ever had would be a single ring up front and a 1x10 system. Yeah,
same here. I know friends of mine do it in winter especially. They get a single speed bike, just a simple, you don't get worn out, but it definitely sounds like good training.
Meant to be good training. Maybe we should do it.
Good for your legs, definitely, yeah. Chris Ogden is thinking about buying a Scott Genius LT.
Do it.
What does Neil think of the LT Plus compared to the regular LT for riding Enduro in the UK? Well, I've had both. You've got the LT now, I've got the LT Plus. So far I love the LT Plus. It's a great bike. It does feel really similar to the old one. I'm actually looking forward to putting the 29er wheels on it to try it, because the only slight disadvantage I found is in the sloppy mud. You don't bite in with the Plus tyre, you sort of float on top, as we found with the fat bikes actually. So
I found that as well when I rode a Plus bike as well. It just didn't feel quite so comfortable on the wet, slidey routes that you do get in the UK a lot. And I definitely feel the 27.5 is just perfect for me anyway.
But in the dry, the grip on the Plus tyre is incredible.
It's a trail centre ripper, it's unreal.
Chris, you sound like you like Enduro, so you should check out our How to Train for Enduro video. You need a good diesel engine to pedal you around all day long, and that means training at low intensity but for a long amount of time. If you've got a heart rate monitor, we're talking about zone 2 or zone 3. If you don't have one, basically you should be able to chat easily to your mates. Plenty of people don't realise how easy that is. They go too hard and burn their legs up, so they don't spend enough quality time in those low zones. These sessions can be done on a cross-country bike or on a road bike. I did them a lot on my road bike until I got bored with it, and then I'll go back to my cross-country bike. On my road bike, I've got a power meter, and I just keep an eye on it occasionally so I don't start creeping up the zones and start burning up my legs too early. I'm looking for that quality time in those lower zones.
Come on, Neil, it's time for the quick fire round. I'm going to steal the laptop.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to ask you the questions this time. So Birmingham Bike Squad is asking how long / often should you have practice skills such as bunny hop, drop-offs, manuals?
As much as possible, every day.
Every day, all day. Dale Best is saying, do you guys own dirt jump bikes? And if so, what ones? And can you do videos on dirt jumps?
I'm getting a Canyon. Yeah, I can't wait to ride that. I used to ride dirt jumps all the time, so I'm looking forward to getting that. And yes, we will do some videos on dirt jumps.
Everything fun. I'm going to be getting a new mountain bike, but I was wondering if you should go for a plus size or a fat bike. What do you reckon?
That's a tough decision, that is. I would say try both, unless if you have already, I don't know, because they are different, but try them where you like riding and make your own mind up. They're both great.
Samuel Webb, can you do a video on how to build jumps?
Yes, definitely, you should do that. Yeah, we've done one trail maintenance video, but not so much on jumps. Definitely work on packing them down. Once you've built them, pack them down as hard as you can with a shovel.
And use lots of logs. Endaf Williams, can you make a video on what grips are best for cross-country, downhill and enduro?
There aren't really specific grips for either. I guess you can get sort of those silicone grips for cross-country, but a grip's a grip really. You sort of try and find the ones you prefer. Some people like really thin grips, some prefer bigger ones, but they aren't really specific to sort of discipline of riding so much.
Joseph Klein, are tubeless tyres generally harder, therefore less grippier than tube tyres?
No. They might have a slightly sort of thicker carcass to them, but the rubber will be the same sort of rubber you find on all tyres.
Yeah. And with tubeless tyres, you can go a little bit lower in pressure, so in terms you should have more grip.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for the quick fire round. Nice and quick and easy this week, wasn't it? Where can you leave the comments to get them answered next week?
ASK@GMBN.com or down below this video. Now it's time for the Correct Me If I'm Wrong section, where you guys send your videos to us and we check them out and give you some advice. The first one comes from Robert McCaskill, and he's hitting a jump.
Danny McCaskill relative?
Possibly. Sounds Scottish, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's coming in pretty good.
He's asking, he's saying, I'm pretty confident with most jumps, but would like to add more style. Do I need to get more airtime to start trying whips? I would say yes. Although that's a cool jump, and you do it really nicely actually, really smooth. Definitely to start doing whips, you're going to need more time in the air to move the bike around and, more importantly, get the bike back straight to land. Alan Villanueva, and he's asking for tips on his Scandinavian flick. That looks pretty good. He's sort of definitely flicking the back wheel in towards the corner. My tip would be to let off the back brake a little bit earlier, so once it starts skidding out, it's sort of kicking out that way. Let off the back brakes, it's still out there, and then it'll flick back round, you'll come out with much more speed. Nice one, keep practicing. Don't forget you can send your videos to ask@gmbn.com. Whilst you're here, you should definitely watch some more videos from us at GMBN. If you click just about here, that'll take you through to a video telling you how to set up your suspension for maximum grip.
And if you click just about here, you're going to get to hardtail versus full suspension. Which one was quicker?
Click just on this logo here to subscribe to the channel. It's totally free.
And why don't you get some clothes from the shop?
And give us a thumbs up.